When people get drunk in public, they often end up on the wrong side of the law. And once those handcuffs are on, they finally learn their lesson. Let's take a look at 4 such encounters where drunk women learned their lesson. On December 26, 2022, a police officer responded to a report of a disturbance at a local bar. Upon arriving, the officer encountered a tense situation. Inside the bar, patrons reported a 34-year-old woman named Jessie Erin Nelson causing a commotion, loudly arguing with others. The bar owner, concerned for the safety of patrons, insisted that Nelson be trespassed from the premises.
Okay. She was upset. I don't know. I think she's personally drunk.
Okay.
If you want to wait a minute, I think we're going to have her trespassed. So,
Okay. I'll meet you over by that.
The officer approached Nelson and questioned her about the reported disturbance. Nelson seemed uncooperative and defiant, claiming that she had issues with the toilet and denying any involvement in the reported disturbance. The officer informed her that she needed to leave the premises as she was being trespassed and threatened to take her to jail if she refused.
If you don't leave, I'll take you to jail.
I mean, I'll go to jail. I ain't got no problems.
Let's go.
You look familiar.
As the situation escalated, the officer asked for Nelson's ID, and she initially hesitated but eventually handed it over. During this exchange, Nelson broadcasted the encounter on Facebook Live, announcing her name and emphasizing that she had no warrants. The officer reiterated the trespassing warning and the consequence of jail if she returned.
He got mad.
I don't care what he got. You're being trespassed. And if you come back to this piece of property, you're going to go to jail.
I don't give a shit. I'll come back to this piece of property.
I reckon that's a good thing, though.
She stayed live on Facebook, broadcasting the entire situation. She was rude to the officers and refused to leave the property.
I'm going to jail, y'all, if I don't leave the property.
You're going to go to jail.
Well, this property and y'all.
Leave now.
Despite being given numerous chances to leave, Nelson remained defiant. The officer gave her last warning and instructed her to leave the property immediately, but she just wouldn't leave. The officers decided to arrest her, but she continued to resist, and the situation took a more serious turn when she kicked one of the officers, resulting in a felony charge. Inside the police car, Nelson was yelling and engaging in a conversation with the arresting officer. She raised objections, questioned the legitimacy of her arrest, and asserted her rights. The officer attempted to maintain order, advising her to calm down and stop yelling in the back of the car. Eventually, Nelson was arrested and charged with trespass after notice, resisting arrest with violence, and battery on law enforcement officers. She was released after posting a $5,000 bond. If you thought Nelson was the worst drunk, then you need to see the next one. On September 20th, 2021, an incident involving Kelsey Kaminsky unfolded, raising concerns about potential endangerment due to driving under the influence of alcohol. The situation escalated further with a subsequent crash, prompting law enforcement to swiftly respond and piece together the unfolding events. The encounter with law enforcement began with an officer approaching Kelsey, who was initially inside her car. The officer expressed a desire to discuss the situation, assuring Kelsey that she wasn't in trouble and encouraging her to step out of the vehicle. However, Kelsey expressed discomfort and hesitated to comply, citing a preference for staying inside the car.
I don't feel comfortable getting outside.
You don't feel comfortable getting outside?
Yeah.
Why's that?
I just don't feel comfortable getting outside.
All I want to do is talk. I feel a little more comfortable
That's
if we
okay.
can talk.
Tensions rose as the officer reiterated the need for Kelsey to step out of the car, emphasizing that it was a legal requirement. Kelsey resisted, expressing distrust and fear of arrest. The officer warned that failure to comply could result in automatic arrest.
Okay, I'm going to call my lawyer right now.
Go ahead, but if you don't step out in the next couple seconds, you're going to be arrested just for that. Okay? Nobody here is trying to do anything bad to you.
Despite the warnings, Kelsey refused to exit the vehicle, prompting the officer to inform her about the legal necessity of stepping out. The officer gave her the last warning to step out of the car, but she just wouldn't step out.
This is your last warning to step out of the car. Otherwise, you'll be placed under arrest.
Eventually, the officer had to remove her from the car, which led to a physical struggle and ultimately resulted in her arrest. During the arrest, Kelsey exhibited signs of distress, including difficulty breathing. The officer requested medical assistance, and an ambulance was called to the scene. Kelsey Kaminsky faced charges of driving under the influence, leaving the scene of an accident, and resisting law enforcement. A bond of $3,000 was set for her release. When it comes to the worst drunk ever, the next one takes the cake. On the evening of May 22nd at 9:30 p.m., Bloomington officer encountered a woman named Elizabeth Hill, a 42-year-old, sitting in the driver's seat of her vehicle near an intersection. The situation appeared straightforward initially, with Hill claiming her vehicle had mysteriously stalled while she was driving home. The officer approached Hill, asking about her situation and offering assistance. Hill seemed disoriented and intoxicated.
Are you going back home?
Actually, I would prefer to be towed to a mechanic, but I
As the interaction continued, the officer discovered that Hill's driving privileges were revoked. The officer took her keys, leading to a verbal confrontation. He instructed her to stay in the car for safety, but she refused and attempted to run away.
Stop running. All right, run.
leave me the alone.
The officers apprehended her and transported her to the police department for further processing. As the arrest process continued, she didn't cooperate and made things difficult. This caused a tough and argumentative situation between her and the officers. Even though the officers tried to keep things calm and follow the rules, Hill's unhelpful actions made the whole process take longer.
Okay.
Shut the f up and you don't tell me what to do. That's what's up. Until I get my lawyer on the phone immediately.
Elizabeth Hill faced charges of aggravated driving under the influence of alcohol, obstructing identification, resisting a peace officer, obstructing a peace officer, and misdemeanor. The total bond amount set for Hill was $5,035. Sometimes, a beer alone can put you in handcuffs. That's what happens in the next case. On June 24, 2023, Chelsea was pulled over by a deputy for speeding at 57 miles per hour in a 35 miles per hour zone along County Highway V. The situation took an unexpected turn when, instead of complying with the officer's instructions, Chelsea accelerated, leaving a trail of dust. The pursuit ended abruptly in the front lawn of a nearby home.
How much have you had to drink tonight?
I haven't. I had like one beer, at like 5-6 o'clock.
Observing indications of impairment, the officer decided to conduct field sobriety testing. Chelsea willingly consented and successfully passed both tests. The deputy proceeded to administer a preliminary breath test, revealing that Chelsea was over the legal limit. Despite having had only one beer earlier, her blood alcohol content was above the legal threshold.
And you said you only had the one drink, around 5 or 6?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're at a 114. Okay, so you are over the legal limit right now.
How is that possible?
At this point, Chelsea was informed of her arrest for operating while intoxicated. The situation escalated as she resisted being handcuffed and expressed frustration.
What about my dog, you fucking prick asshole? You cucked. You probably beat your fucking woman, you fucking stupid bitch.
Throughout the arrest process, a tense interaction unfolded between Chelsea and the officer, as Chelsea expressed her dissatisfaction and voiced concerns about her personal safety.
I will walk to the car by my own regard. Otherwise, you will have to force me.
Chelsea faced legal consequences, including charges of felony battery and resisting arrest. If you enjoy the content, then consider subscribing.